Ah yes, depression. Just like a fresh cup of morning coffee, it spread bitterness in life. But unlike coffee, sugar cannot sweeten it up. You probably clicked on this video because you either have it or are suspicious that you got it. Before I continue, I would like to say that this video does not help you resolve your problems. I can only give you information and my opinion in hope for you to activate your critical thinking and save yourself. Of course, if you don't have it or are not suspicious, then you probably are here to satisfy your curiosity. If that's so, feel free to watch further. If it's not, then you are welcome to leave too. If you are looking for a content creator that actually help you curing depression, I will link one down below that I think might be able to help you. Now that is out of the way, while not using incognito mode so that my computer thinks that I need help, let's start the video. Now, let's start with what is depression? Well, by internet's description, depression is a mental health disorder that causes persistent feeling of sadness, emptiness, or hopelessness. It affects how a person thinks, feels, or behaves, often leading to emotional and physical problems. It's not just a sad feeling for a day or two. It's a lasting condition that can make even simple daily tasks feel overwhelming or pointless. Depression affects our lives by interfering with the ability to work, study, sleep, eat, and enjoy our hobbies. Relationships can suffer, motivation disappears, and it can become hard to function in everyday situations. It can also lower one's self-esteem and create a sense of disconnection from others. By description, depression often feels like carrying a heavy weight that doesn't go away. People describe it as numb, empty, or a drained feeling. Things that used to bring joy may feel meaningless. It can be like stuck in a fog, where thoughts are slow, decisions are hard, and future seems bleak. Some people may feel isolated even though they are surrounded by others, and may struggle to explain what they are going through. In this video we will be talking about two types of depression, major and bipolar depression. There are more types, but honestly I cannot be bothered with doing all of them when I had no prior knowledge about them, okay? Now let's start with major depression. What is major depression? Well, it is really what I thought back then what depression was. Like those suicides that you saw on news years ago, and they're still trending. That was literally my first interaction with depression. It might sound simple on how to detect this type of depression, but it's only simple for the person themselves. Only they know how they feel and hurt. No one else can determine that for you. If you have lots of suicidal thoughts and have a long depressive moods, I recommend you seek help from friends and therapists, please. For the second type of depression, we are going to talk about the bipolar depression. I think this one might be the common one. Having highs and lows are essentially what human lives are, and how they handle and deal with it might end up in a depressive state. Sometimes it's a grief or loss, sometimes it's all the negative thoughts, maybe it could even be insecurity. A lot of things we do are and is a high and low. Only depending on how mentally strong a person is, they can handle it, but only for a limited amount of times. Every stone will crack under long enough pressure. The problem is, with bipolar, it really overlaps with major depression. When you do hit the lows, it's really sickening. It does fluctuate back up, but be warned, it feels really, really terrible. Now, after the summarization of those two types of depression, you might be thinking, okay, how do I know if I have depression? How do the symptoms look like when I have it? Well, in order to find those symptoms, you have low mood, loss of interest, fatigue, changes in appetite or sleep, difficulty in concentrating, feeling of being worthless or guilt, and in most severe cases, it can happen to both. I think major depression requires it, but in bipolar, it can happen, okay? In severe cases, it can happen in bipolar. Are thoughts of death or suicide. Now, after you hear what depression is and what the symptoms are, you might be wondering, how did I get depression? Or how do a person get depression? Well, on the internet side, they say, yeah, it might be some kind of brain chemistry, doing something with the neurons. It might be genetic, saying that it's hereditary. Well, Google, do your work.
Hereditary.
Or stressful life events, difficulty experiences such as death as loved one, trauma, divorce, etc., etc. Or medical conditions, because some medical conditions such as cancer apparently can give you a feeling of being depressed. And lastly, medication. Some medicines can cause depression as a side effects, and sometimes it might even worsen it, including alcohol, apparently. Well, at least this is all what the internet says. Let's go over what I really do think also kind of adds on to how a person can get depression. And from my experience, it's literally no goals in life. When you have no goal in life to reach, it really boosts the low mood and absolutely no motivation to do anything in life. And with that, it really comes into play with depression. And sometimes it can happen also through isolation, which also spirals your insecurity and anxiety, which again, for most introverts, it's really painful. And yes, what the internet says about stress and achievements, it could happen. On my experience, was lots of family pressure. My indecisiveness caused the feeling of being lost in my life, unable to think critically for myself and choose a path my family expect, and not consider how my happiness will be affected, even though they told me to choose something I really want to do, because I really don't know what I want to do. And at that point, that's really a lost cause. I'm lost in life, I don't know what to do, I have no goals in life, and suddenly you hit a low. And that's how you easily get into the depression. Now let's walk away from all this theoretical stuff and that I just talked about, all these crazy ass information that might even just get into one ear and then loop out through the other. Let's look at the statistics. Is depression a lot more common nowadays? To the answer of internet, in a way yes, but at the same time no. I'll show you this result that I found on the internet. I will summarize it to make it a little bit more clear, because these scientific notations might just give you a headache. It says between 1990 and 2019, the number of global depression cases rose by approximately 59%, from around 182 million to 290 million. However, the age standardized incidence rate slightly decreased by 2.5%, suggesting that while more people are affected, the rate per 100,000 people has remained relatively stable when adjusted for the age, which means that per 100,000 people adjusted for age, the rate of depression has been stable. That means that depression isn't getting a lot more common, it's just that the population has expanded, which is why the number of people with depression has risen. Sadly, we cannot compare the depression rate from way before this time, because depression was only officially introduced in 1930. Now, after somebody on YouTube is gonna meme about the depression before 1930, now we're going over to my opinions. And honestly, this is the end of the theoretical stuff and my research. So if that's all you needed to know, you can click off this video. But if you want to hear my rant and my opinions in these situations, you can stick till the end. Now, welcome to the actual video, guys. I may overlap a little bit of the previous information, but I will put my own spin onto it. Because I have my own takes on depression, and especially about the last part. It may be true that depression is quite recently discovered, but in my opinion it might have never occurred before the Industrial Revolution, or even before that. Let me explain my speculations, and keep in mind that what I am about to say is all my own thinking process and not a fact. It's all my thoughts and speculations. Now, let's go back to how does depression exist. I shall not count live events such as death of a loved ones, because if I do that we might as well date back to the Stone Age, because I really think that depression has risen from at least centuries ago. My main concern on how depression came into existence is because of our society. Instead of having a role to fulfill as hunting, farming and all those standard stuff that was just inherited from way back then, people are getting more options, which was absolutely amazing. But every positive situation has a downside. The indecisiveness, the insecurity in the world, which was full of rainbow and sunshine, became a dark, cold night. Now, I'm not criticizing that we should go back in time, but I do think that we need to see this problem through, because we made our life better and more relaxed. We can buy stuff for money and we can laze around most of the time. This leads to ultimately nothing. We don't feel the need to do stuff around anymore. All we do is get a boring job, get some money and wait till our life ends. Some might even feel pressure from school and parents at the end and lose mentally. Some might be mentally challenged and cannot keep up with society. This leads, in my opinion, to hopelessness, worthlessness and most importantly, losing the will to live. It might sound dramatic, but mental illnesses are really a pain in the butt. Nonetheless, this is just a small part of what I'm talking about. I think the recent cause for people is internet. Every day, just scrolling through TikTok, watching people flex their life and not improving your own. It has become an addiction you cannot let go. Some may even get it from ruining their own image online.
I should be the only motherfucker getting praise in the Genshin community because I don't spend money on Genshin Impact. If you want a... What the f...
Such many new cases keep on adding up to the point where catching depression became twice as easy as years ago. It's not easy to escape. Your friends, family, maybe even a neighbor can have depression. It's not all about suicide. It's about how you feel in life. People are stuck at some time and cannot move. Some are just uncertain to get out of their comfort zone. But to just let you know, in this fast world where it's surrounded by darkness, you are not alone. Beyond the night, there is a new tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed the video and thank you for watching. Have fun, y'all. Oh, what? You stay here? Well, before you go, I want to thank you for listening to this video, and this is my first time actually scripting a video, if it sounds weird. So I kind of did read a lot of things that I thought about out. And if that's kind of not your style, you can tell me that in the comments, or you can just, ignore all the fact and you can comment on what you thought about the video, what about the takes, and comment your own thoughts down below. And if you are interested in another talk about how humans are these days by evolving yet they are reaching nowhere, I have another video and I called it Let's Talk. I'll just put it on the screen for you to watch. And if you're interested in how I perceive human communication these days, you can watch that video. If you're not interested, feel free to check out anything else that you like. And for the teaser of what my next video is gonna become, I'm just gonna rant about gacha games because I feel like these glorified gachas these days are absolute dog waters. Hell yeah. So I hope you have a great day and have fun out there. Goodbye.